Hello, everyone. This is MMA Interesting Prospects podcast. Today, our guest is Christian Ynastrilla, who will fight on new Line Cagefighting 45, April 25th. Hello, Christian. How are you?
I'm doing good, brother. How you doing?
I'm good. And in about 4 weeks, you will fight in overall, I think, really interesting fight because of a few reasons. It will be your first title defense, so probably like a big thing for you. And if you can tell me, how excited are you that there will be this fight for the title and the fighter that you fought before?
Man, to be honest, obviously I'm super excited. I just won my first professional title in my last fight. They always say you're not like a champion until you defend it. So I always take that super serious, being able to defend my title. But I think more important than that is being able to rematch Nate Williams. I think it's not every single day that you get to fight a guy that's had 50 something fights. I don't there's just not a lot of guys. You look like maybe even in the UFC there's just not a lot of guys that even get to that number of fights. So I truthfully feel like I'm fighting like a legend of the game in a sense, because I feel like to even get to that point in your career to have 50 something fights, I think it's really special, and I get to avenge a loss. So I'm super excited for the opportunity to fight someone like him and prove that I am one of the best flyweights in the country. And I think this fight is another opportunity for me to continue to prove that.
And he actually is like really good with his submissions. And actually, he's the only fighter who submitted you, I believe.
Yeah.
So,
Mhm.
so probably it would be like a good thing to take the revenge. So go for
Yeah.
submission against him.
Yeah, I'm looking to finish, man. Like whatever he gives me at any point. I feel obviously I have a lot of submission victories, so obviously like I find the way there. But man, there's times too where I've hurt guys on the feet and then they shoot a takedown. I'm able to get a submission. Like I truthfully feel I am. Well, this is my goal in every single fight. I want to be the better mixed martial artist. Like I'd be very disappointed if I go in there and let's say I'm the better striker, but he turns out to be a better wrestler in the fight, and I find a way to like edge out. Like I want to dominate. I'm either looking to finish or dominate, and I want to be better than him in every single aspect of mixed martial arts. That's the goal that I have, not just in this fight, but in every single fight.
And your first fight was over 4 years ago. It was September 2021. And
Yeah.
how much of the progress did you make since the first fight?
Man, I think after that fight, because before that fight, it was kind of like the COVID times. So my original gym where I started shut down during COVID. So I kind of didn't really have like a proper training camp when I fought Nate Williams. Obviously, no excuses. He was the better man on the night. But after that fight, I really took a step back and I was like, I need to have structure in what I'm doing, because that's the only way I'm going to get to like a top level. And I feel like I changed a lot of things. And since that fight, I've gone 7-1. I feel like I've made a lot of changes. I have like a very structured team now. I would say I've taken like in a sense like a boxing approach. Like I've just made a training camp that's solely focused on me, and I feel like I have really good coaching, and I have like some good training partners that I work with, and I feel like it's a huge difference from the first fight. And I'm excited to show my growth. I feel like that. I feel like it's like a test getting to fight him, and I feel like I really get to show the 2.0 version of myself. And I know he's improved as well, so I'm just excited for the chess match that it's going to take place between me and him.
And I think that sometimes like winning big fights, so winning a title can give a fighter some like additional momentum, that you are not just a fighter, just a good fighter, but you are like right now a championship fighter. So probably it can also give you some confidence and and like ability to even go for the finish even more.
Yeah, for sure. The last fight I had was the first time that I had gone the full 5 rounds, and I was happy I was able to dominate in the fight. But I feel like a certain part of me, like leading up to the fight, I had a lot of people telling me that you could do 5 rounds in the gym, but doing 5 rounds in a fight is different. So I feel like I was being a little conservative with my energy at certain spots, because I was like, I don't know how I'm gonna feel but I felt really good the entire time. So it definitely gives me the confidence going into this fight, because I push a really hard pace, but I felt like I was a little reserved just because it was my first time doing 5 rounds. But I look forward to keeping a really high pace the entire time in this one.
And actually also about your opponent, because sometimes the like fan or the like more of the like casual fan can see the fighter with as the fighter who lost 23 fights. And I think that is important because like you mentioned, he got over 50 fights. He fought against like who on the regional scene. This kind of veterans, they always like knows some tricks. They know what
Yeah.
to do in what moments. So I think that this kind of fighters need to be respected because he's not like 50 fights and with 5 wins, 45 losses, but
Five
he's
losses. Yeah.
yes, but he's definitely much better fighter than that. Definitely the win and the finish over some against someone like him, it will be like big thing.
Yeah, I agree. I think this is not boxing. In boxing, you see guys like there's 100 guys that are 30-0, and I don't think it really means a lot. I think in MMA, to me, one of the best fighters right now is Charles Oliveira, and he has what like 10, 11 losses, but he has 30 something wins. I think in MMA, I think it only makes you more dangerous. He has that many losses, but look how many wins he has. He has more wins than most guys have in their entire career. Like I don't know many guys that even have 33 MMA fights, let alone he has 33 wins. So I think that makes him very dangerous. He's beaten some good guys. He's fought bare knuckle and he's had success there. He's fought in MMA. He's fought up a weight class. He's won fights at 135 pounds. He's fought and he's won in a million different ways. He fought one of my teammates, Juan Puerta, who was one of the top guys in the country, and he had a back and forth fight with him. So definitely like he's 33 and 23, I believe that's like his exact record, but that's a man like to me on paper that's a true veteran. And I think people like that, you don't see a lot of guys like that in MMA, so I'm super excited to get to compete with him again.
But also I think that right now you are like really getting close to be like fighter with 20 pro bouts, and I
Yeah.
also can consider you like as the veteran, but also the veteran who wants something more from the sports. So if you can tell me after this fight and if you successful defend the title, do you have some maybe like other goals for your career, especially in next few years?
Yeah, man, 100%. I 100%. I think I finish Nate Williams in the manner that I know that I can, and I'm able to get the performance that I want to get. I see no reason with a 14-5 record at just turning 30. I feel like I'm not even in my prime yet. I feel like I'm getting there now. I really want a shot at the Dana White Contender Series, a short notice UFC fight. Man, I see PFL is starting to do flyweight bouts. I would love to get a shot on. They're just a big show, because at the end of the day, like I want to get the notoriety and I want to compete with the best guys in the world, but I also want to make more money because the more money that I can make in this sport, the more I can invest into my career. Because right now I still work, I work jobs and I have to work and things like that. And I still train full time, but I think being able to just focus on my career, I'll hit an even higher level than what I'm at currently. So that's obviously, yeah, I want to get after this win, I want to go to one of the top promotions in the world, and I feel like I'll earn that by beating Nate Williams.
Yes, and actually, I think that PFL should create flyweight division because actually,
Yeah.
when I like dig deep in the regional scene, I think that flyweight is actually one of the best division in the sport. So it's kind of crazy how much of the like really good fighters, talented fighters are like champions or even not champions on the regional level, and they definitely can put great fights on the like highest stages.
Yeah, I agree. Man, like I love heavyweights, don't get me wrong, but it's like when you watch a heavyweight fight, like quote unquote, heavyweight's the most exciting division, but it's 50. If you don't get a knockout in the first round, both of them get really tired and they get really sluggish, and it's not the prettiest fight you'll see, right? But like at flyweight, we don't get tired. You're gonna see super speed, you're gonna see technique the entire time. So I definitely think PFL needs to add the flyweight. I know they just added the bantamweight division last year. Like that was like the first time they did the tournament. So I think, let's add that flyweight division. And I just want to see more shows just add in the flyweight division. I see now even Jake Paul has that most valuable promotions and they're doing a big show. Hopefully they're on this. I just think the more big shows we have on the scene, the better it'll be for the fighters. But obviously the ultimate goal is to be in the UFC, but I'm open to fighting in other big shows as well.
And if you can tell me more about the boxing model that you mentioned in your training camp, because there are some fighters like even like Tony Ferguson has this kind
Yeah.
of model. But if you can tell me why did you decided to choose this kind of thing?
So I train at MMA Science Academy, right? That's the gym that I represent, but I really take the time to have the one-on-one coaching. I think that's super important. I think a lot of fighters, like I used to train at American Top Team Coconut Creek. I trained with Pantoja, I trained with Kyoji Horiguchi. I trained with all those guys. And that was early on in my professional career. And I feel like it made me tougher. I had to learn how to survive because obviously I just turned pro. I was only 21 years old. These guys are at the top of their game. And I feel like I got better in a sense, but I had a lack of coaching. Like obviously nobody's gonna pay attention to me, right? I'm the 21-year-old new kid on the block. I maybe get a little bit of attention and stuff like that, but I feel like the last like 2, 3 years, I would say I've really like I work with a lot of one-on-one with my wrestling and grappling coach Michael Tavares, who I think that guy's an absolute wizard when it comes to anything wrestling and grappling related. I work with my longtime striking coach Carl Darbuz, and I have one of my main training partners, David Tercero. He's like a young up and coming amateur, but he's gonna be in the pro scene in a couple years. And then what we do is I try to get a lot of different looks as far as training partners through like my main gym, MMA Science Academy, but I focus a lot more on just having the coaching because I feel like the coaching is the most important thing because that's where you get the details. And then obviously the bodies I can get anywhere because I work with Juan Puerta, who's top ranked in the whole entire country. He fought on the Dana White Contender Series. And I see the progress that I make when I go with him. And there's other guys that every Saturday we have open sparring at our gym, and I get to work with different flyweights, different bantamweights in all of Florida, and I get to get a lot of high level work. But I've realized that as long as you have a couple good training partners, but I think the most important thing is the coaching. I think without the coaching, it's hard to get to an elite level. And I feel like with the coaching, if you have just a couple really good training partners, you're set. You don't need 50 high level training partners, but if you have a couple good training partners and really, really solid coaching, I think it makes a world of a difference. I've seen in my experience.
And I think that in this sport, there are a lot of like ways to be successful. You can be like
Yeah.
training ATT or Kill Cliff, the like super big gyms. You can be in the smaller gym. You can have like more individual approach. So it's great that there is no one good way to do things, but
Yeah.
you can mix or you can choose. And especially that you mentioned that you went to ATT, that you have still your gym. So you are a veteran, that you know what can work for you.
Yeah, I think it's super important to find what works for you, right? Because there's probably other fighters that prefer being a part of like the super gym and they want to be like in that. And I feel like for me, what I've found is as long as I have really, really good coaching where I know that they're constantly evolving my game or adding things to my game. And then I'm able to kind of I go from gym to gym with because I've met a lot of people through the Florida scene. I feel like in Florida we're one of the biggest states in the whole country for mixed martial arts. So there's never a shortage of training partners in the and just in this entire area. So I'm always able to get really, really good work. But I have a couple main training partners that I work with. And we're getting better together, and you just see the growth. And that's for me, that's the most important thing. When I'm in training, I just want to continue to get better. I don't want to be a guy that's only good at one thing. I'm always constantly evolving because I feel like especially in mixed martial arts you see it very quickly. If you don't evolve you get left behind, and I feel like that's something super important that I take very serious is just to continue to improve and improve and improve because I think that's what allows you to have longevity in this sport as well.
And probably also for your next opponent, Nate Williams, it can be like a little bit hard to find physical this type of fighter because he's rather short
Yeah.
because of that he also can create some problems because usually probably you spar with the like a little bit taller fighters.
Yeah, well, which is actually good. I think this week coming up, I've found an exact training partner that's his exact height with like very similar skill sets to him. So I'm really excited about that. Just to implement that like 4 weeks out. So I'm pretty excited about that. But I feel like that's one thing I feel like I do very well too when I have an opponent, especially like a particular opponent. I feel like I'm Man, Florida, there's so many people. I'm just able to really find people. But I found somebody that I can definitely. Obviously, once you get to the fight, it's different, and you're not going to get the exact look. But I have somebody with a very similar body type, and I feel like that'll be very, very helpful in preparation for him.
And actually, when I checked your record, I saw that you made your pro debut on a Bellator show, right? It was like
Yeah.
the Bellator card.
Yeah. That was super cool. I Rampage Jackson was at my fight. Dan Henderson was literally front row. That was super cool. And I fought like in my pro debut, I fought Christopher Daniels, who he had like a long amateur background. He had won multiple amateur titles, and we had fought in the amateurs, and we had like a tough 3 round war. So I definitely knew coming into my pro debut was a super tough fight. But I feel like I performed very well on that stage, and I was able to get a finish early on. But it was super cool to fight someone that tough in my pro debut, and especially on a platform like Bellator, because I love Bellator. It's a shame that it's gone, but that was definitely one of my favorite promotions. So it was like an honor to get to fight there in my professional debut.
Yes, and probably it was one of the your best wins because like Daniels is a
Yes.
very good fighter. So
Yeah.
winning on the amateur level and then in pro, it probably also was good, especially when you see how like far he went.
Yeah, for sure. I think at one point he was 9-4, and he was ranked above me. He had a lot of great wins, and I think I took a lot of confidence from that, being able to be. And then even after that, me and him became training partners. So that was someone that I got to do a lot of rounds with, and I got to see all the success that he's having on the professional scene as well. And I'm in the gym, like doing sparring with him and things like that. So it's always good getting to go with these guys that are having really successful careers, and you build a lot of confidence off of getting rounds with guys like that and being able to compete with guys like that.
And also on the YouTube, I saw that you had some kind of crazy fight because it was in pillow fighting championship.
Yeah. Hey, I had trained all my life with that. Like when I was little, I have my cousins sleeping over, we're hitting each other with pillows. But it was a very cool opportunity. I had a promoter reach out to me and he said, would I be interested? And I was like, not really. But then he's like, oh, they'll pay you. And I was like, okay, if you're going to pay me, I'm going to go throw a pillow. It's perfectly fine. But it was super entertaining. I had a moment that went viral that Anthony Pettis shared one of like my clips because I like jumped off the fence and I did like the Showtime with the pillow. So it was super entertaining and it was cool just to have a lot of eyeballs on me for something outside of MMA. But it was definitely really entertaining to say the least.
And I think that I saw like Hector Lombard also competing in this. So there were few like UFC fighters who did it.
Yeah, and it's grown a lot now. Like I see they're doing shows in like Japan, they're doing shows in Canada and like different countries. So it's definitely grown because I think when I did it, had just started and they were doing it just like here in South Florida, but now it's really just gone viral. Like this place is everywhere. I saw they did one in Africa. I'm like, Jesus Christ, these guys are growing fast. So it's pretty cool to see.
Yes, it's definitely better sport than a power slap.
Yeah, no, Power Slap is great. I mean, people say it's fun to watch, but like I watch it from home. I've like taken the time to watch it, and I don't get how people do. You just stand there and you can't like block or anything, and I've seen guys that like their face droops down from how hard they get hit, and I'm like, man, that's too crazy. Like, I'm willing to do crazy things, but I think that one's on the top of the list that I would not do. I would never do that. It's crazy.
Yes. In like all sports, you have to have a like possibility to defend yourself. It's the most
Exactly.
important thing.
Yeah, exactly. Because I there's a lot of fighters, they're able to use their defense and things like that. But that's the one sport where there is no defense. Your defense is, I guess, how tough of a shot you can take, and you can only do that for so long. So yeah, definitely. Yeah, I think it's very crazy. I don't understand how it's growing. But I mean, to each their own, right? But yeah, I think it's very crazy.
And taking into consideration your all experience, if the let's say young fighter would come to you and ask for advice about the sport, what can you give him? Some kind of advice how to go through your career and be a successful fighter.
I would say, especially early on in your career, and I think any point in your career, the most important thing is consistency. I would say definitely, I see even in my gym, like at MMA Science Academy, sometimes like some of the guys will win a fight and they take time off. Like they have no injuries, but they're taking time off. Like like always, I think it's just being in the gym, regardless if you win a fight, if you lose a fight, staying consistent, having good coaching, and just staying consistent. I think that's the most important thing. And really being like dedicated to your craft, right? Like not just showing up, but really paying attention to detail. Like if your coach is telling you, like, hey, you're dropping your hand, really being mindful of like, okay, I need to keep my hand up, focusing on those little details because those little details are what make a big difference. So I would definitely say consistency and really listening to your coaches and like understanding that the small details are what make the big difference and allow you to become a much better fighter. I would say for a young fighter, that's the most important thing.
And also with your experience, you faced like a lot of styles. But
Yeah.
do you have a, like maybe one style that you think that can be like tough for you, but it also would be like interesting puzzle to solve, let's say?
Man, there's a style that I've been dying to face, and obviously I've never faced. I actually almost faced someone like that. I had a fight where I don't remember the guy's name, but he was training at Bilal Muhammad's gym, and he was like a Dagestani guy with like a real sambo style. Like, there's always that aura about the Dagestanis. Like, I would love to face that style because I know it's a puzzle, but I feel like my wrestling and my grappling is very high level, and I feel like I understand very well how to scramble, and I would love to test my style against like a Dagestani style. That would definitely be a style. Like I would love like a UFC debut against like a Dagestani guy. That would be super cool. I feel like that would just be because I feel there's a lot of people that fear that style and they don't want to face that style. But I would love at some point in my career to face a style like that because I feel like I have a lot of answers and a lot of puzzles that I can present right back to them, and I would really, really like love to face that kind of style.
Yes, yes, and not many fighters wants to just compete against them. So I think that it's like really cool because if you can beat this style, you know that you probably can beat almost all of these styles because right now it's like a little bit maybe not hyped style, but it's sometimes tough to solve. Let's say.
Yeah, yeah. I'm a huge fan of their style. Like I'm a huge fan of Hamza Chimaev. I'm a huge fan of Habib when he was competing. I'm a huge fan of Umar. I love Islam. Like I'm a huge fan of all of those guys. Some people might say it's boring, but I think it's not boring. They're just dominant, right? Because even like you watch a basketball or a football game, it's not very exciting if there's a team winning by 50 points, right? Like you get kind of bored. I think it's the same thing. They're just so ahead of you, and but there's so many little details that they do that allow them to just stay ahead of you the entire fight. So I find their style very fascinating. So yeah, I would definitely love to compete, and I feel like I take a lot of pride in trying to have like a very similar Dagestani style. I try to make my wrestling and my grappling very similar to a lot of the things that they do because I think the stuff that they do is super high level, and I love studying it and watching it and trying to add those things into my own game.
And for now, do you have maybe one, maybe few favorite fighters? So the fighters that you know that you have to watch when they are fighting.
Charles Oliveira is definitely one of my favorites. I would definitely say him. I love Corey Sandhagen. I really love seeing how well-rounded Corey Sandhagen is. Yeah, Charles, Corey. I'm a huge Max fan. I will always love Max Holloway. And I think if I had to have a fourth, I would probably say Hamzat because I just find it so interesting that you know what he's gonna do. He's gonna shoot a takedown in the first 15, 20, maybe 30 seconds of every round. And very few people have an answer for it or have even been able to present a challenge to him. So I always love watching his fights. Like I found it so interesting when he fought Dricus Duplessis. I thought he would have a lot of success. I thought as the fight would go on, it would become more competitive, but he was able to do it every single round. I was completely blown away at the fact that he was able to just keep doing it. But it's crazy to watch him chain because Dricus will defend something and he just go to the next takedown and the next takedown. It's really impressive to watch. But I would have to say those are like the four fighters that when they're fighting, I tell my fiance and I tell all my friends, leave me alone because I gotta focus on them fighting. But yeah, those are definitely like my top four.
And right now, Kamzat will fight against Sean Strickland. And
Yes.
do you think that Sean can be a problem for him in like some ways?
I believe Sean could present problems in some ways. I think he has a very educated jab. He has a good jab and things like that. But man, I just don't know if he's gonna be able to stop the takedown. I think if Hamza gets him down, he's gonna like. I feel like let's say he gets him down, he dominates him a whole round. Strickland's going to be very hesitant on the feet because he's not going to want to get taken down again. And I feel like Hamzat now he's training in California with TJ Dillashaw, strength and conditioning coach Sam Calvita. And I think his cardio looked better than we've ever seen against Dricus du Plessis, the pace he was pushing on the ground. So I still have Hamzat winning that fight. I think there might be little moments where Strickland lands some punches, but I just don't see Strickland being able to stop Hamzat. I think once Hamzat gets him down, he's going to do a lot of damage. He's going to wear on Strickland really hard because Strickland's been taken down before by guys that aren't as high level as Hamzat. Like Dricus du Plessis was able to get him down. And granted, Dricus couldn't hold him down, but I think Hamzat's a whole different beast in being able to hold you down and let you get back up and get you in bad positions and stuff. So
Yes, and also there may be some like mind games before the
yeah.
fights, so it can work also a little bit.
Yeah, especially they trained together before, so that's super interesting. And I saw the whole interview with the Schmo where Sean Strickland was asking him how did it go, and the Schmo was like, "Well, he submitted you a couple times on there," so it's very interesting. I'm really excited to see that matchup because especially because they've trained together. It's not that element of surprise so much. There's gonna be obviously they're gonna change certain things, but it's like they've felt each other before, so it's gonna be cool to see when two people that have felt each other before go in there and what adjustments they make and things like that.
And also about Cory Sandhagen, because he unfortunately will not fight Sean O'Malley, and I think that is
Yeah.
probably the best non-title fight that UFC can make right now. But do you think that Cory can be a fight for the title one more time?
I think so for sure. I think he's had, a very, very hard road because Corey has the mindset of I'm gonna fight anybody. Like he fought Umar when Umar was way down in the rankings, and he didn't have to do that. I think he was like top three at the time, and he took the fight anyway. So I feel like he could definitely get another opportunity. I just kind of feel bad for him right now because I look at the top bantamweights and I don't see who they can match him up with. I think right now they're leaning towards a rematch with Mario Batista, but he already beat Mario Batista, so it's kind of like a lose-lose situation for him because it's someone he already beat. But I definitely see him fighting again for the belt at some point because I just think he's one of the most well-rounded guys in the division. Like he can strike, he can wrestle pretty well, he can grapple pretty well. So I definitely see him being able to compete there again. But I definitely do think guys like Marab, Jan, Umar, those are like the top of the division. And I think Sandhagen has a little adjustments to make to break into that level with those guys.
Yes, but also he's like super smart guy, super
Yeah.
yes, just smart. So probably if someone can make this kind of changes, he's the fighter.
Yeah, for sure. And he has a great gym behind him. And I always love watching him evolve because after he got submitted by Sterling and he's had like a couple like that split decision loss to TJ, you saw him really starting to like not just strike, but he started adding the wrestling and adding a lot of the good jujitsu transitions that he does with like Ryan Hall and stuff like that. So it's been cool to watch him over the years bounce back from some of those losses that he's had. And it's super inspirational, even for guys like me, watching him like lose those fights and come back and just be a much better fighter and a much smarter fighter each time.
And outside of the fight game, let's say that you are after like a training session and you have to relax a little bit. Do you have any other hobbies, like not MMA related, that you would like to spend your time on?
So when I don't have a training camp, I love eating pizza. That is one of my like weaknesses. I will always try to find different pizza places, and I go to try different pizza and stuff. And I'm always trying to find like different. I love pizza. That's one thing I like. I also like riding jet skis, especially like down here in South Florida. That's something whenever I get a chance to do. I like trying to go to the beach and rent some jet skis and do that. And then other than that, sometimes I get together with friends and we'll go like maybe play some laser tag, or like last night we went like in a big group and we went bowling, things like that, just sometimes to get the mind off of like fighting a little bit. But honestly, fighting's my life because really if I'm not training, I'm also coaching, and if I'm not coaching, I also do commentary work for an amateur show here in South Florida called 305 Fights. So, and I love watching MMA. Like I watch PFL, I watch UFC, I watch all the shows really coming up. So I truthfully love doing that. But as far as hobbies, definitely eating pizza and like going out with friends and stuff and like trying to find like a group activity to do. I really enjoy doing. And then I think one more thing I really like doing is taking my dog for like long walks and stuff. I'll take my dog on like some runs. I have a German Shepherd that's like, my son. So I definitely love doing stuff like that with him. So that's like probably just some stuff I like doing outside of fighting.
Okay, so last question. What is your favorite pizza?
Oh man, we have a place down here. It's in Deerfield, and it's called Munchie's Pizza, and I think it's the best pizza because it's really cool. The crust, you can put whatever you want in it. They have this thing called like a meat spiral crust, where you can put like in the crust, like in the back. You can put like ham and like cheese and garlic and pepperoni inside, and it's crazy. I love a good crust because they have stuffed crust there. You could put garlic bread as like the back of the pizza, but for me, that is like my favorite. Munchie's Pizza is by far my favorite. And then like my favorite like I guess like fast food chain pizza place would be like Papa John's. I love me some Papa John's. I have the points and stuff. Right now my fight's coming up, so I can't have any pizza right now. But after the fight, the first thing I always do is I find a pizza place. Like I'm fighting in Kentucky now. I'm gonna definitely look around the area and find a pizza place I've never gone to, and I'm gonna go eat some pizza there. That's definitely always on the top of the bucket list of things I have to do after a fight.
Okay, Christian. So many thanks for the time and for conversation. I hope that you will win your next fight because it's like a really interesting fight, and I hope that maybe some other big opportunity will happen after this.
Thank you, brother. I really always appreciate when guys like you give me the platform to be able to speak. So thank you again for your time. I'm excited to go out there and compete. I hope you tune into the fight, and I promise I'm gonna get this W. And I look forward to putting on a show, and then hopefully we can talk after. And I'm gonna continue to work my way up in this sport. I've always taken the long road in this sport, and I'm gonna continue to be in this sport for a really long time, God willing, as long as I stay healthy. And I know that in the next few years, I'm going to be in a major organization doing big things, God willing. So